Transforming lives on a global scale. Welcome to Transforming Lives with Helen Henry, empowering you to walk in your truth, encouraging you to live your dream. Change your life by changing your thoughts. You can achieve what you want. Yes, you can do it. Be prepared to receive knowledge, understanding, and wisdom that will not only change your life, but advance the lives of others. So together, we can transform the world. And now, here is your host, Helen Henry.
Welcome to Transforming Lives. Change your thoughts, change your life. Are you ready to change your life? It all begins with you.
I'm Karen Arthur Henry. Are you ready to be transformed?
I'm Alexis Hayes. Let's get this journey started.
Well. We have a guest today. Today's guest is an international motivational speaker, leadership consultant, and #1 Amazon best-selling author who specializes in personal transformation. Her aim is to empower, equip, and transform lives through leadership and coaching. The central theme of her message is the transformation of followers into leaders and the manifestation of one's inherent greatness. Her endeavor is to help people address critical issues impacting their spiritual and social development. She aims to help individuals transition from merely existing to becoming God-realized. I am your host, Helen Henry, and today it is my extreme pleasure to welcome Shauna-Kaye Brown to Transforming Lives.
Thank you.
Well, welcome, Shauna.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And today, we want you to speak a little about manifesting your greatness. What does it mean? If you can share it with the world.
It'll be my pleasure to do so, Helen. Thank you, first of all, for having me on your platform. I appreciate that. I'm very grateful that you are willing to share that platform with me this evening. And when I speak about manifest your greatness now, there is so much that's packed into that statement. First of all, it presupposes that you have greatness. Some people might look and wonder, what do you mean when you say manifest your greatness now? How do you know I have greatness within me? And I'm saying to you that without any doubt, every individual was born with that inherent greatness to get to their zenith in life. What am I talking about when I say manifest your greatness now? What it means is that you were designed by the Creator to make an impact. You were designed by the Creator to empower or inspire someone somewhere. And if you're not doing that, you are living below your potential. We have to remember what the Bible tells us in the book of Genesis. He says that we were given dominion over the things of the earth. Now, the mistake that a lot of people make is that you think you have power and dominion over other people. And we don't realize that as much as we try to exert power over others, we are weakening ourselves because that goes against God's this divine plan. The plan that God had for us is for us to have power over the things of this earth. And when you are operating in this inherent power, that's how you begin to manifest your greatness. So in Revelations 5:10 tells us that God created us as kings and priests to rule and to reign. That is the power I am talking about. That is the inherent greatness I am talking about. That is that distinguished ability to be eminent in this world. You don't need anyone's permission to do that. You don't need anyone to authorize you to do that because God already did. And some people may say, well, I don't have any leadership position. No one has designated me to lead. Well, no one has to designate you to lead because he has already made you a king and a priest. Now tell me, what title is higher than that? What responsibility is greater than that of a king? When a king walks into a room, everybody looks. When you start walking in that divine confidence in which you were created, you have people around you have no choice but to take you seriously. But as long as you stay in the comfort zone and you say, I'm waiting for someone to offer me a seat at the table, I'm qualified, I have what it takes. Why am I not getting an opportunity? Well, hello, you're going about it the wrong way. Why are you waiting for someone to offer you a seat? Do you even know if the seat that is at the table is comfortable? Will you even like it? Bring your own chair. And if they will not shift over and give you a place, make your own table. Because Les Brown says you must be willing to do what you can, where you are, with what you have. No excuses. But as long as you continue to hide behind your excuses, you will not be able to manifest your inherent greatness. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I did not come to this realization by happenstance, and I did not come to this realization because someone picked me out and decided to nurture me in that light. I had to come to this realization through experiences, through trial and error. Now, in walking in my divine greatness to help people transform their lives, I recognize that everyone else doesn't have to make the same mistakes I did. Everyone doesn't have to traverse the same treacherous waters that I did. Now, if God has equipped me with the necessary skills to be able to navigate turbulence and to lead myself out of turbulence, it's a travesty if I don't share that with the people I was called to serve. Manifesting your inherent greatness is about getting up every day and being intentional about making a positive impact, no matter what. Now, some people may say, Shauna-Kaye, how do you make a positive impact when there are so many things that are going on in their life that is just hindering you? Well, it's a matter of how you perceive them, isn't it? Because James Allen says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. But we know that that didn't come from James Allen. The book of Proverbs tells us that as we think in our hearts, that's how we are. But James Allen tells us that our circumstances don't make us, they only introduce us to who we are. So no matter how adverse your circumstances are, it doesn't mean that you have to limit yourself to the abilities that you see around you. You have to be willing and you have to be able to see further than your eyes can look. That's what manifesting your greatness is about. So when you look over the edge and all you can see is what is in front of you, it doesn't mean that that's all that is possible. So if it is that you don't know how you're going to do that, don't worry about it. How is none of your business? That's not for you to worry about.
I love that.
You have the answer to the what. Fueled by the why, you're already halfway there. Because only 3 to 5% of the world's population ever do that. You hear me? Only 3 to 5% of the world's population ever manifest their inherent greatness. Why does that happen? Why does that happen? There are a plethora of reasons that I could give you, but I like what Earl Nightingale says. That people don't do the best that they can do, and people don't reach to their acme in life because they are busy conforming. Conformity. Why does he go to work? Why do you go to work? Oh, because everybody else is doing it. Oh, because I have to pay the bills. That's a new one. You're conforming. And if you're conforming, you're going against the will of God, because what does he say? He said, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Do not conform to the things of this world.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Speak, speak.
So if the society tells us that we have to go about it this way, do we really have to? Now, I love my mother. And if it was not for her, I would not be here today. I am very grateful that I chose her to be my mother. And I would do it again and again and again. But my mother taught me an error, and it's not her fault. It's the society. You know what she taught me? She taught me to be a go-getter. Now, how many of you out there can identify with that? Once you hear the term go-getter, you know what I'm talking about. Man, mommy says, Shauna, you have to be a go-getter. The only way out of poverty is through an education. Thank you for that, Mom. So I was told, go to school and get an education. Amazing. I'm grateful. Get good grades so you can get a scholarship, because I have no money to send you to school. Thank you. And when you get a good education, it puts you in a position to get a good job. Thank you. But then what's next? Now my perspective changed about 4 years ago when I read the book by Bob Berg and John David Mann called The Go-Giver. Wow, I had an epiphany. That book took me to the next level, and I realized that in order for you to manifest your greatness, you have to have a mindset of giving. You have to have
Yes.
I love that.
you have to have a mindset.
Gold nugget.
Golden nugget. You have to have a mindset of the other person first. Now, I think that us being here today, right now, is not an accident. And I say that because earlier today, I had a chance encounter with a young man. He said he's about to be 33. And he said that we're not practicing the right religion in the world. He believes that there is one religion that we should be practicing. And I said, what's that? And he said, love. 33 years old. And he said, love. And I was just flabbergasted. I was just floored because he gets it. Now, we don't have that mindset of giving because everyone is self-serving. We cannot manifest our greatness because we're all about self. And it's not made any better by our society because our society is a major proponent of self, self-worth, self-love, self-actualization, self-realization, and all of that is good. And there are positive elements in all of that. But you know what it leads to if you're not careful? Selfishness. We have to start thinking about other people. When you become a go-giver, it's other people first. When you become a go-giver, you're saying that I am going to passionately pursue your interests without any thought of reward for myself. Why? Because when I look at you, I see God. Because he said that he created us in his image and its likeness. How do you manifest your greatness now? Is by living now in this moment, not waiting for anything to be right or not waiting for any ducks to align, but realizing in this moment that the only time we have is right now.
Yes, 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 yes.
For everyone,
Powerful. I'm sure my co-hosts have something to ask. I'm sure.
I remember I go back to some times when I was actually counseling someone, and they were going through depression at the time. They were saying they were very depressed. They were going through a very difficult time in their life. And I told them, I said, you'll stop feeling depressed when you begin to help other people. And that's so important. Just as Shauna touched on, giving. When we start thinking about someone other beside ourselves, that's the key. That's the key to lock any door.
Mm-hmm.
The life-changing word.
And I want to add to that, with a humble spirit. With a humble spirit, once you are humble, you're able to just help others.
Yes.
Be grateful, and as manifesting your greatness, it's all about practicing that self-love.
Yes.
Practicing self-love. And as Shauna stated earlier, there's so much that we have to be aware of, not being negative, not giving up. We cannot give up.
Yes.
You can go on.
Wow. You know, Helen, you said something so important just now. Thank you for that reminder. It's a mindset is everything. Mindset is everything, because on any given day when you wake up, your circumstances will be less than desirable. You can find something that you don't like or something that is not perfectly how you would want it to be. But you have to decide in your mind that you're going to have a positive mindset.
Yes.
Called Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude by Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone. And in that book, they talk about this invisible talisman that your brain is made up of. And there's a right side and a left side. And they said that on the one side is what is called NMA, which is negative mental attitude. And the other side is PMA, which is a positive mental attitude. And the idea is, whichever side you decide to feed, that's the one that's going to grow. And that resonated with me when I read that book for the first time a few years ago, because whatever you feed, that's what's going to fester in your life. And then guess what? That's what's going to dwell inside of you. And if it is inside of you, guess what happens? Every time someone presses your button, that's what comes out. Mm-hmm. So this question for anyone who's listening to me. If I gave you an orange and I asked you to cut it and squeeze it, what would come out of it? I'm pretty sure that if I did a survey, 95% of you, if not more, if not 100, would say juice or maybe seeds. You know, we have the genetically modified ones without seeds. So I'll just say juice, right? Juice comes out. Why does juice come out of the orange? Does it matter what time of day I squeeze it? Does it matter who squeezes it? No, it doesn't. Juice comes out of the orange because that's what's inside of it. If you feed the negative side of you and you're puffed up and filled up with negativity, when someone presses your button, that's what's going to come out of you. And my question to you is, what do you want to come out of you in your daily interaction? What do you want to come out of you when someone presses your button? When someone does something that you don't like, that you disagree with? When someone has an idea that is different from yours, instead of saying, interesting idea, I never thought about it that way before. No, you're wrong and you're stupid. That's negative. Why do we have to want to put down someone else to feel better about ourselves? Does that say something about them or about us? So Helen, I'm really glad that you reminded us of that. Having a positive mental attitude is the key to transforming your life so that you can begin to manifest your greatness.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. And David R. Hawkins, he does a lot of work in consciousness. And he has what he calls a map of consciousness. And I keep one very close to me every day as a reminder of where am I vibrating mentally. I meet a lot of people who say, Shauna-Kaye, you're always so positive. Your life must be perfect. And I just laugh because I don't know what perfect means to them. I have challenges just like everyone, maybe more than some people in some cases. But am I going to allow those challenges to be my master? No. And I'm saying to you, you should have the same mindset. And I'm not going to allow my circumstances to dictate how I am, how I behave, and how I relate to other people.
That's right.
Because that's just going to send you further and further into the realm of darkness. You cannot manifest your greatness from a dark place.
Speak. Yes, speak.
In order for you to manifest your greatness, you have to be walking in power. How do you walk in power if you're vibrating at a level that is beyond courage? A level beyond courage is anger, resentment, hatred, unforgiveness. But we know what the Bible says about all of that. Because in the book of Matthew, in Matthew chapter 18, verse 35, he says that if you don't forgive, he will turn you over to your tormentors.
Yes.
You know who the tormentors are? It's the resentment, the roots of bitterness that have been laid down for years and years of unforgiveness. It is the anger. It is the guilt. It is all the things that have happened that you cannot change, that you're holding on to, that is inhibiting you and keeping you in one position, is keeping you stagnant and immobilized. You cannot manifest your greatness from a place of anger. You cannot manifest your greatness from a place of bitterness. But when you begin to walk out with a positive mindset, knowing that irrespective of what is going on right now, when I wake up in the morning and I swing my feet over the edge of the bed, I can feel the cold floor and remember that my nerves are working. But instead, the average person has a proclivity to say, oh my gosh, the ground is so cold, I wish I had some slippers. But at least you can feel it. All about perspective.
Yes, yes.
And I'm not talking about perspective as in, is the glass empty, half empty or half full? That's baby stuff. So what if it's half empty or half full? Fill it up again when it's empty. I mean, it doesn't matter. But perspective is about your mindset and
yes.
what you do when you wake up in the morning. Today is a wonderful day. Miracle will follow miracle and wonders will never cease.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I know there's questions. I know there's questions. Come on now.
Yes. Shauna, I would like to know, are there any of the practical steps, I guess, in identifying some of these negative traits and aspects that you were speaking about that the people can apply? Because once you know the situation, you could work on the solution. So how would you go about identifying that?
Thank you, Alexis, for that question. So that's a really good question, because I know some people are listening and they're wondering, well, all of that sounds good, but what can I do to make that change? First, I will start with the proviso that it's not going to happen overnight. It takes intentionality, it takes commitment, and it takes someone who appreciates that, it takes someone who appreciates the compound effect, taking small steps daily and committing to the long haul. So from a practical standpoint, one thing that I know works, and it sounds so basic, but it works, is setting goals. And there are different ways that you can set goals. I teach a goal setting workshop, but it's not an orthodox goal setting workshop where I set goal with a timeline by the end of the year. It's not like that, but at another time we can talk about it. But we can start from a practical standpoint, get a journal, set some goals, write down what it is that you desire, a regular notebook, because we already know this. Because the Bible tells us in Hebrews 11 and verse 1, it says, now faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So if you have faith and know that the things that you desire, you can achieve them, and you begin to set your goals with that in mind, you are already en route to realizing that, because the Bible tells us that He will grant us the desires of our hearts. We already know that before we even properly formulate the thought. He has already done it on the divine plane. We know that. So you have to begin by writing down your goals. And one of the easiest strategies that I've used that works is the SMART goal setting mechanism. So you have to be specific. SMART means to be specific. The goal has to be measurable. The goal has to be attainable. It has to be a realistic goal, and you need a time. So that's why they say it has to be time bound. Because if I just say that I want to become a nurse. Okay. As long as I don't take any practical steps about that, it's just a wish. It's just a wish. It's just a wish, no action steps. It's never going to come to fruition. It doesn't mean that God's plan doesn't work. It means that you haven't done what it takes. So when I say your goal has to be specific, if you say that I wish to become a nurse, you have to put a time on that, appreciating the steps that you need to take from where you are right now to realize that. And if this desire was placed in your heart, it is a desire that was meant to be realized. Otherwise, it wouldn't be in your heart in the first place. That's how we don't all have the same desires. So you have to do your research. You know that nursing, depending on where you are, it may take 3 years, it may take 5 years. But before you can even become a nurse, there are certain steps you have to take to qualify to get into nursing school. How much time is that going to take? And when you work out all of it and you say, okay, if I start now, it's going to take about 6 years. But what about funding? How will I get the funding? Will I get it in time to start the process? Okay, maybe another year, maybe 7 years. And once you work that out and you begin to write down your practical steps that you are going to take to start realizing each of those things. Funding, maybe I'll get a loan, maybe I'll speak to some rich auntie or uncle somewhere. Maybe I talk to some friends who have always empowered me and want to see me better and they're a little better off financially. Maybe I'll apply for some scholarship. Okay, maybe I already have my subjects. If you're in the islands or if you're in the US, maybe you already have whatever is the entry-level requirement for nursing school. Let me start applying now. Enough time. Becoming a nurse is an attainable goal. It is specific. You know exactly what you want to become. It's realistic. You need more nurses, thanks to all of the healthcare industry. And you've given yourself a realistic time frame.
Yes.
So when I talk about manifesting your greatness, it's not some hairy-fairy thing that sounds good. I am saying this because it is possible. I'm saying this because I have lived it. I grew up in Jamaica. I was born in what can easily be regarded as abject poverty. Single mother, 6 children. You could stay outside and touch me on the bed. That was a kind of, I'm not ashamed of it. I'm grateful because my circumstances molded who I am today. And because I am here speaking to you today, I am saying that if your circumstances are similar to mine or as mine were, and you're thinking that, Shauna-Kaye, you can say that because you are where you are now. I wasn't always here.
Yes.
Other people, they see the glory and they make their assessment off of the 5% that they see, but the story is the 95%. And it behooves me to share that story because I'm going to help you to transform your life. I need to show you from a practical perspective that it's possible. And who is the antidote to use? That's me. Because growing up, I had people in my ear saying, you can't do that. When I was in high school, I could share this quick story with you. When I was in high school, one of the requirements was community service. You had to go and do community service for 2 weeks as a part of your requirement to graduate. I ended up doing my community service in a law firm. Don't even know how that happened because in high school, I had no desire to become a lawyer at that time. Anyway, the day before I was meant to leave, so the penultimate day, the head of the law firm called me and he wanted to meet with me and get an idea as to what my goals were. I told him at that time I had big dreams. I read Think Big by Ben Carson and I wanted to go to Yale. And I said that if I didn't go to Yale, I'm going to UE, University of the West Indies. Those were my 2 options. I didn't care about anything else. And the high school I was in, everybody would have thought I was crazy because nobody from that school at that time went on to tertiary education. It would be 1 in a million and I wasn't the special one. So when I told him what my dreams were, he shut it down and he said, I don't want you to feel bad or anything, but why don't you go to the vocational school? Don't you think you're reaching too high? Man, that ignited a fire inside of me. That ignited a fire and I said, I'm going to prove him wrong. I don't know this man from Adam. Why do I need to prove anything to him? But I'm glad that he touched that button because if he did not, perhaps I would have been living a lukewarm life. Perhaps I would have stayed in the comfort zone. But we all know that nothing happens that is great. Nothing happens in the comfort zone. You cannot manifest your greatness from the zone of comfort. Saying to you that if there are people in your life who are negative, if there are negative, non-affirming relationships that you are holding on to in the name of love, let it go because love doesn't hurt. Love doesn't put you down. Love is not negative. Love doesn't make you feel like you're less than. And if there are these relationships that are in your life telling you what you can and cannot do, you need to let them go. Send them love and release them to the Holy Spirit so that you can be free to do what God has called you to do.
Yes, you have to be the one. You have to be one.
You have to do that. It says, behold, I have given you power to tread upon serpents and scorpions and nothing shall by any means hurt you.
Yes.
Power. Stop playing small. Stop waiting for permission. Nobody needs to be powerful when you already have it. You were born with it. Stop making excuses. Well, you don't know what happened to me. I was molested. I was hurt. Now it has happened already. And it's very difficult to navigate that. I can speak firsthand because I've been there. And I'm not this experience is different. But you went through that experience because you were meant to be an outlet for the universe. You were meant to be an outlet for somebody else. So you have to learn how to leverage your pain as a platform for leadership.
Yes.
If you have been through all of that pain and you're not doing anything with it to help somebody else navigate their pain, you're wasting your time feeling sorry for yourself.
Yes, yes, yes.
If you're listening to me and this is you, you're going through some,
Yes.
you've experienced some
Yes.
trauma. Well, let me tell you, first of all, if you're thinking, why me or it's me alone? I'm going to burst that bubble right now. It's not you alone. Statistics have shown that 88% of everybody you meet in the street have been through some type of trauma. 88%, that's a high number. That means the chances of you being in a room with at least one other person who has been through something that you've been through, very, very high.
Yes.
What I'm saying to you is this: are you going to live your life whereby you die at 25 and you get buried at 100 because you die spiritually, because you die but your body is still just existing? Is that the life you want to lead? Or you want to live? Because there's a difference between living and existing. You cannot manifest if you're merely existing. You have to live. You have to choose life. You have to decide that.
Yes. What I like about manifesting your greatness is bringing what you want into reality.
Yes.
Act on it.
Yes.
Action. You may speak it, but don't act on it. So manifesting your greatness is about going out and receive it. Go after it. So all what you have spoken to us is what we need to act on. Make it a reality.
Yes.
Am I speaking? You have to want it. You have to let go of the negativity, as you said. And important to renew your mind.
Your mind. You know, Dr. Wayne Dyer, he says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. He's the author of the book, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. Mindset is everything. If you don't change your mindset, your life will not be great. If you don't change your mindset, you cannot take yourself out of mediocrity. If you don't change your mindset, you cannot graduate from the comfort zone. Mindset is everything. And you have to understand that realizing your greatness is not about Shauna-Kaye coming out here and motivating you or empower you. You cannot be empowered unless you want to be empowered. Motivation is an internal process that comes from within you. You have to want it. You first desire it and you open up your to begin to receive that. But if you close yourself off on the premise that, well, you're different, well, you can say that because you don't know my circumstance. I don't have to know your circumstances. There are so many people in the world who are willing to give to you, but the question is, are you ready to receive? And in the same way, there are many people out there who have been given so much, they're bursting at the seams, but they're not willing to give out anything. Now, if you have a bucket of water and you decide, well, water is great, so I'm going to preserve this bucket. As long as you don't take some out, you have no space to remove, to place fresh water. But the moment you start sharing that water with everybody who is thirsty, now you have room in your bucket to receive more. And the divine source is one of abundance. He's always going to give you more because that's his plan for you. I'm saying even as you give, we talk about being a go-giver. As you give in an aim to become the best that you can be and to live your best life, understand that the universe is such that it is going to come back to you because that's how God created it. It's our source. So if you're there and you're saying, well, I have an idea what I want, but I don't know how. Remember what I said earlier, how is none of your business. That's God's business. He will send you what we call destiny helpers. He will send you the right people at the right time to help you to get to the next level.
Yes.
If your heart is saying to you, get up and go do that. Don't say, well, I don't have time to get to the next stage. Well, that's fine. Because if your house was burning down, you would grab what you can and you would leave everything else behind. So what is stopping you from going after your greatness? What is stopping you from doing all that you can with what you have where you are right now? Is it the possibility of you failing? But whether or not you do anything, you still possibly fail because that's a part of the process. But understand that when you get up and you face the thing on your pathway that you're afraid of, it is such that sometimes it disappears.
Yes.
My experience is that every time I was afraid to do something and I finally did it, I always found myself saying, well, that wasn't as bad as I thought. Why can't I? And remember that each time something comes up that seems too hard, that time when you were about to do something that seemed too hard, but you did it anyway, and then you realize that it wasn't as bad as you thought, use that to fuel you every time you're faced with fear. And remember what he tells us, perfect love casts out fear. The road to manifesting your greatness is to be open to giving, to passionately pursuing someone else's interest just because, with no condition. They don't have to owe you one. They don't have to give you something in return.
Yes.
Or just give.
Yes. Yes.
To get on that pathway to greatness.
Yes. Ooh. Wow. All I can say is wow. You have given us tons of information in order to manifest your greatness. I wish we can have more time to go on and on, but I'm telling you, Shauna, this is what we all need. And it takes motivation. Motivation, it says, is the key to developing what you want to do. It's the key to your success. So we have to use what we know, that the tools that's given to us, and go out. That's what I tell the young people today. Not only the young people, those who feel that they cannot achieve what they want. They have to have self-love. And with the self-love, they are able to pursue what they thought that they cannot do.
Yes. Wow, that's powerful.
So I'm so glad that you shared this with us this evening. And I'm sure, you know, the people have heard and will apply it to their life. The key is to apply it and to practice it so that it may come a reality.
Yes.
That's important. We can't sit on it. We have to be determined to make it happen. And you've shared a tons of information to us this evening, and we thank you for sharing that with the world today. But before you leave this evening, we would like you to share with the audience how they can get in touch with you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Helen. Thank you all for having me. I appreciate this opportunity to be able to share and not keep everything inside. And if you want to reach me on almost all social media platforms, it's Shauna-Kaye Brown Speaks. So I can spell it for you. It's Shauna, S-H-A-U-N as in Nancy, A-K, Brown as in the color, Speaks with an S at the end. And that would be for Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. That's the name that I go by. I do post on TikTok every evening between maybe 9 and 10. I do a post, and right now I'm doing a series on transformation by Dr. Wayne Dyer. It's called 101 Ways to Transform Your Life. And I'm sharing little nuggets about how you can just implement these things daily without feeling like it's just too difficult. It's very easy, and you begin to see transformation in your life if you do one of these things every day. So I would love to share with you if you have questions, if you just want to know more about my mindset and how I got to thinking like this. You know, before I was a very cynical person, and I thought I had it figured out, and I didn't realize I was a fool. I can say that about myself. But I'm saying to you now that it is possible and that I want to share. So go online, look for Shauna-Kaye Brown Speaks. You can type it in Google, you'll find it. It's all over my website, the Shauna-Kaye Brown Speaks as well. So thank you so much for having me, Ellen, Alex, and Mr. Henry. I really appreciate it. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Pleasure.
You're so welcome.
Well, thank you again, Shauna, for coming out and share with us this evening on Transforming Lives. And we wish you all the best in your success and your achieving goals. And this is Transforming Lives, and we thank you all for joining us this evening. Hope to see you again in our next episode.
Thank you for joining Transforming Lives. You can visit us at www.helench.org. You can also visit our organizational website at www.intlrun.org or email Helen Henry at helenjc08@yahoo.com.